Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with Adam Carlson.
Thank you.
Co-designer of Too Many Bones from Chip Theory Games.
Right.
Which is a giant, heavy box when it's full. We've got a sampling here.
It is a 10-pound box. It's very heavy. We've got some quality components. Too Many Bones has been out for a few months now.
Okay.
We just sold out of our second edition, but we've got a few more left in the booth. What are your questions?
What are we doing? How do we play?
Okay, so bones.
The bones clearly are the dice. You have a lot of dice.
There's a lot of things going on here. Bones has 150 custom unique dice, and these are heat
transfer.
Yeah, just like the Fantasy Flight Destiny.
Right.
I'm sorry, Star Wars Destiny dice. So they're the high-end dice. The chips are all 11.5 gram chips, and we've got the neoprene, everything. So even the cards themselves are PVC plastic. So we have very nice components, very high quality. So what we're doing here is it's a game set kind of in a fantasy, more like Tolkien type world, if you will. You're playing as a Gearlock RPG. Gearlocks are a new race that we just kind of planted right in there.
And how many players?
Yes, so it's 1 to 4 player, solo to co-op. We're finding a lot of solo players like to play more than one Gearlock. It works great with just one Gearlock. We have, the game is run by a series of encounters, and encounters are basically the storyline part of the RPG. And so we have a deck for 2 to 4 Gearlocks, and we have a special solo deck if you want to play by yourself. Right, just like we have set up here. So these encounters, you read the story, and then it gives you options, choices. There's a little bit of a risk reward for each choice. You make your decision, and then you try to complete the
entire
encounter. So some are battle, and some are just decisions for the party that will affect or alter the course of your adventure. So for every game, we're pursuing a tyrant. So in this particular case, we've got Molmesh as a tyrant. The 6 and the 9 here represent how many days you have to earn how many progress points. So 6 progress could be as quick as 6 encounters. So a game is, maybe 2 or 3 hours. I would, if you know what you're doing, it can be faster. Yep, absolutely. And of course, we've got some loot and trove loot in the game. Every wonderful RPG has to have some good loot. Focusing on the character here, what makes the characters unique is we have, again, all of these dice have a function. We've got the 16 here. There's actually a lot more dice that are not on this table right now, but Boomer has a set of 16. And as Boomer progresses through the adventure, she can learn or unlock certain skills. Big Boom has, some randomness to what happens, but if Boomer wants to, in this particular case, roll Big Boom along with some of her other dice, the Big Boom is all, if you want to find out what it does, you've got your reference sheet. On the left side, you've got your little icons. All you have to do is find the icon right here, control blast, and then just follow the directions. So pretty simple. We've got a nice key here that shows exactly what each of the dice do as well. So you can kind of study that before you figure out what skill tree you want to branch out into. The other way you can develop your character is not with the skills, but the stats. So what's cool about this is, again, it's limited by a D6. So you've got your starting stats, and then obviously you can build your health, which is represented by the chips underneath. We've got attack, which attack dice, how many dice you have access to. Same with defense. Dexterity is unique. Dexterity represents how many dice you may roll in that particular turn. And it also represents your movement. So in this particular case, if Boomer wants to move 2, it's 2 dexterity. So now Boomer has 2 dexterity left on that turn. So only 2 dice Boomer may roll. It can be, 2 attack dice, defense, a combination, or any of these dice, but only 2. Yes.
Right, and you're moving about this location here, which is representing your encounter.
Occasionally you'll have encounters that are battles. So here we have our unique initiative meter. The baddies, when they come out, they're drawn from a large stock of baddies. We have a ton of chips that are not shown in here. I mean, this box is 10 pounds heavy, so it's got content more than that could fit on this table. But in this particular case, we've set up the board. We have 2 baddies. They have their assignment for their lanes, and they have their initiative dice. They start with, in this particular case, Purple starts with a 2 initiative and 3, and Boomer, when she starts the battle, 4 initiative.
Okay.
Round 1. So that's how you know the turn order. Who goes first, second, third, each round. So after each player goes, uptick to 2, and then Boomer, baddie, 3, and so on and so forth. You've got your movement, attack, defense, pretty basic, straightforward.
Right.
Some skills. It's clever, it's simple, it's, the battle is important, but it's not the core of the game. So we've got a lot going on, yeah.
And you have different encounters as well. You have the solo encounter, and then
yes. So the encounters are very, very out of the box style. We have 2 pals solo, and we've got per group.
Okay.
What you were asking, they can range from doing a simple decision in terms of having to go for a trove loot, and then you might have to give up something to go for the trove loot, and that wouldn't result in a battle necessarily. But half of them are battles, maybe 60% of the encounters are battles, so you have a fair amount. So from our mesh, you're looking at 4 good battles and 3 good, decision-making processes for the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And with multiple characters, if we're having a 2-player game, will each be on here moving?
Right, okay, so great question.
Or we have a different grid, or?
Yeah, so there is no GM or DM for this game. All the baddies have their own functions, which is described clearly in our rulebook. We have specific movement directions, targeting, and starting health, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So there may be a party leader among the group, and that party leader would be responsible for moving the baddies. What's cool is, like, if this baddie moves 2 spaces, and it moves to the closest, strongest, well, Boomer is the closest, strongest, because she's the only one there. Now, when you move, you're moving 1-2, or you're moving 1-2.
Right.
Now, that can matter, depending on positions of other baddies. If that one was there, and the party leader gets to choose between these 2 spots, of course you're going to go there, because when this guy's up, he's going to be rerouted and can't reach Boomer. Yep. So there are lots of little subtleties in those tactics for positioning. Positioning is very strong in this game. It's not so much about moving across an entire battlefield, more than it is about positioning yourself and making sure that you're protecting yourself with other gear locks and other baddies, and using them as roadblocks, if you will.
Right. Of course.
So,
okay.
Very good.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
An overview. Oh, the nice.
Oh yeah, box art. So this is the world of Daylore, in which all these gear locks are in. In fact, if I may do a little shout out, we do have a Kickstarter coming October 17th, 2017. Yeah, in a month or 2, which will be the second Too Many Bones. Undertow. Undertow will be standalone with 2 gear locks as opposed to 4. So much more aggressive pricing there too. So very good.
All right.
Thank you
very much, Adam, for the overview here. Too Many Bones.